Welcome to the Industry Insider, brought to you by PromoCorner. Each week, promotional product professionals Meg Erber, Jeff Franklin, and Stephen McFadden, along with special guests, will discuss industry news, trends, and events with a focus on educating the promotional products industry. The Industry Insider, the nerdy news you need to know.
Yes, we are back for yet another exciting episode of the Industry Insider, your promotional products podcast, where you can get all the nerdy news you need to know about. My name is Jeff Franklin, the National Accounts Manager with Headwear USA, and I'm joined today by three other lovely folks. But as usual, we're going to talk about our sponsors before we get to those guys and gals. So our sponsor for this episode is our good friends over at TechWeld. Look, when you're thinking about promotional items, stellar customer service, made in the USA products, and business solutions, you got to think TechWeld. They're an award-winning promotional product supplier, having received the Distributor Choice Award in the sunglass category and the SAGNY Supplier of the Year Award. You got to check them out at techweld.com. That's TEKWELD.com, and find the customer service you deserve and the products that you need. Think TechWeld. Look, hand sanitizers, look, even before the pandemic, hand sanitizers were a great product. But due to the coronavirus variants, it's something that's still trending worldwide. And the CDC still recommends sanitizing and washing your hands to help prevent the spread of the disease. They've got many sanitizer SKUs that help combat the spread of the virus. They've also got a lot of FDA compliant products. So there's a lot of FDA compliant products on the website you can check out in a time of uncertainty. Knowledge that a product is FDA compliant is key in allowing your customers to feel at ease when you're placing an order. So remember to think TechWeld for all your promotional product needs. They're the leading supplier in promotional items with a huge inventory of made in the USA items available to help distributors grow their bottom line today. Visit techweld.com and check out their drinkware, sanitizer kit options, and much, much more. Tell them the Industry Insider sent you. Why don't we say hey to Stephen McFadden first? How are you doing, Stephen?
I'm doing fantastic. Yeah, I'm just wonderful. Meg was bragging about being first on all these lists and stuff, but today I'm first and being announced. So take that.
You're first in our hearts, Stephen. That's for sure. I see you got a nice embroidered polo there with 2 locations. What's that all about? What's the shirt?
So a few weeks ago, there was a charity golf event for an organization that we help out with called Meg's Smile. It's kind of like a more nimble, smaller Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Say Meg's Smile?
I did.
No. Do we have to go there?
Yeah, it has nothing to do with Meg. That was the name of. Well, I don't want to.
I thought I was going to get a lump sum of money.
I don't want to make it really sad, but it was the name of their daughter who passed away. So they created this organization to help kids in hospitals and who either terminal or sick or whatever, but they have a golf event, a silent auction event, a bunch of stuff, and we try to help out with that. So but actually the 5K, which I think I've talked about before, that we used to participate in and help run, that we started 7 years ago now, which is crazy, that they were the beneficiary for that. So
wow.
Well, good name. We'll leave it at that.
It is a good name.
Yeah, and I thought something was doing that.
Why don't we kick it over to Smiling Meg right now? Meg, how are you doing?
Good. I threw this T-shirt on because one of mine. I was like, I thought that the tag was. I thought it was on backwards for a second, but it's not. So when you were doing the ad read, I was like, oh no. But we're good. We're good.
Oh, we're glad it's not on backwards.
Typical Meg. We're good.
Yeah,
we have a lovely guest today, though. I am more interested to hear about her and how she came to be on our podcast.
We do have a lovely guest, Lisa Parker. We're dealing with American Ad Bag, and we're talking about you're the chair for the Professional Development and Certification Committee at PPAI, which is our topic for today. We want to talk about what's happening behind the scenes right now, because I know that the committee, I'm actually on the committee, and we're doing a lot of good work behind the scenes. So, but Lisa, it is customary for us to give our special guest a good 3 to 4 minutes to introduce yourself and maybe how you got started in the promotional products industry and what you've been up to since. So take it away.
Okay. As Jeff said, my name is Lisa Parker. I am currently the Southeast Sales Manager for American Ad Bag. I've spent 29 years in this industry. Here in about 6 months, I'll be hitting 30 years. Yes, I started when I was 12. I was very young when I started. Spent most of my career as national sales manager for a couple of the top 40 companies in the industry. lived through a couple acquisitions along the way. As far as my professional development, I've been president of a regional association on 3 different occasions. I've been a habitual volunteer in this industry since, oh my gosh, since 1999, 2000, somewhere along in there. I have put 29 years into it, serving in some capacity as a volunteer. So currently, like Jeff said, I am the chair of the Professional Development Certification Committee. I also serve as immediate past president for CAMP, which is a regional associations in the Carolinas, which I work with an amazing executive director, which I think Jeff may know. He may share a bed with sometimes when he's not on the road. So I've just been
Scandal.
It's only for the inside scoop. I just want to know everything that's happening at camp. You know what I mean?
You got to keep up with everything, right? So, yeah, I've just been pleased to have lots of great mentors and worked with some fabulous people along the way, and just been excited about this industry since the day I walked into it. So there's
awesome.
My little elevator speech.
So, I guess we'll kick off the conversation with this. We'll go back a little bit in time, because I know that before PPA, I actually had these as 2 separate committees. They had the Professional Development Committee, and then they had the Certification Committee. And to me, that kind of never really made a whole lot of sense. And I actually joined the Professional Development Committee when they were still separate. And then they merged them together, which I just thought made so much sense, because there wasn't, I know that there was communication amongst or between the 2 committees, but it wasn't, it just makes much more sense, in my opinion, for them to be together. So do you want to talk on that at all? Because I know you've been.
Sure. It's like the Professional Development Committee pretty much sought out the education classes, pretty much went through all of the education side of it. And then the Certification Committee was basically the cheerleaders and the advocates for the industry to get people involved. And like Jeff said, for several years, it has not made any sense to be separate. So last year, we've put them all together. We've combined them all. And now things are rolling right along. We've been doing a lot of work. As Jeff mentioned, we put in hours and hours of reviewing the educational content that's available online, which I'll get into that in a little bit, because Meg was asking me earlier, how do I find this stuff? How do I know what's going on? So I'll tell you a little bit about that. But like Jeff said, all of our volunteers have put hours and hours in. I think I'm up to about 30 hours invested in revamping this educational program, because let me just say, about 2 months ago, I spent an hour listening about fidget spinners. So fidget spinners is not really what we would be at the top of our list, as top of mind right now. So like I said, Prop 65, with everything else that's going on, everything's changing daily. So we're just trying to get that up to speed and up to par for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's awesome what the committee is doing, finally, like going through and revamping things. I know, you had mentioned you have 30 hours in. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to partake in a lot of that, and I feel terrible. But with everything that's happened
in the circumstance.
Yeah. But I mean, look, basically what the committee was doing was breaking down all of the different webinars that are currently available in the online education portal, and basically going through them all and breaking down which ones need to be kept, which ones need to be revamped, and which ones need to be removed, right? So I think that's huge, because it frees up space to bring in new topics, masks instead of fidget spinners, or, poppets, whatever, like whatever it might be. But yeah, absolutely. So do you want to go into like what that, how we, I guess, made the decision to go through that, and then why, what it looks like moving forward?
Well, like I said, I think it's been stale for several years. So what we're trying to do is go in and remove anything that's 4 years old, anything that's not relevant, anything that's not pertinent, that they have changed throughout the years. We're trying to get that out and provide our members with more up-to-date education, more things that are happening in the world right now for us.
Good deal. Meg, it looked like you were getting ready to ask.
I
a
was.
question.
I didn't want to interrupt you guys. So I think when I look at this, because I'm obviously, if you look at our signatures, I'm the only one here that's not mass or cast here. So what
Wah,
I'm gonna, but it doesn't mean I don't know some stuff or I didn't have any credits. So Stephen had, while we were talking, was like, "Oh, I only need 15 more credits." So I was like, "Well, listen, I've been in this industry a while, and I wonder if this stuff is accumulating." And it is. So I highly recommend everyone who's watching this show right now to log into their ppai.org. I don't know how I got there, so I don't want to kind of.
You go to my profile and then
Okay.
log in, and then you click on transcript.
Yeah, there's an education transcript.
Yep.
Transcript,
And then
yep.
it'll show you every class you've ever taken.
Not only does it tell you all the classes that you've taken, it also tells you what you still need to get those certifications, which I think is super helpful, because I didn't even know I had any credits, and now I know I'm only a couple away from both CAS and MAS. So we have a little friendly competition over here to see who can get their MAS first, myself or Stephen. But
I don't know, Meg. You got about 35 hours worth of classes to take. Steven's only got about 15 hours worth of classes to take. So I don't know.
And we've been going about 15 minutes. I'm already halfway through a class, so I'm just kidding.
Damn it.
Everything's available online. Jump on during lunch, take a class, jump on an hour after lunch, take a class. I mean, after you get off work, take a class, or like Stephen said, take your class while you're doing other things, multitasking.
Honestly, the fact that it's all the fact that it's all available online is amazing, because I remember when I first got into the industry, I was like, man, this is going to take forever to get 100 classes. Like I'm maybe going to 4 or 5 like per event. So I'm getting, maybe 10 credits a year or something. It's like, this is going to take absolutely forever, but not realizing that you can go on, you can watch the, get all your general electives out of the way. Cause basically these certification classes are the majority of it is general electives. So like Meg said, you could have been doing, been in this industry for 10 or 15 years and have all these electives sort of added up. And really the only thing that you'll have to then do is take, some of the CAS required classes or the MAS required classes. And you could literally be done, in no time and be able to get those certifications. And it really does matter. I know there's other industries that have certifications where it may mean a little bit more to the industry as a whole or to the people that they're working with. And that's what I would really love to see, our designations and certifications really start to mean something within the industry when it's, hiring and looking for other jobs or, just the overall knowledge or, whatever it might be. So I'd actually like to ask each of you, like, what does the designation mean to you? Lisa, why don't we start with you? I mean, since you've got the MAS and the MASI.
Well, I guess what it means to me, it's pretty much establish my professional credibility to my clients and my colleagues, maybe to my potential employers, as well as my personal and educational growth. And quite frankly, by doing this for so many years, I have just met so many business contacts and friends. Once you get involved in all this, you have lifelong friends and lifelong business contacts. And it's just an amazing ride for me. So that's what it means to me.
I'm going to touch on something you had said earlier. You put 30 hours alone into recreating this education thing. This industry is really run by volunteers. Like, it really is. Like, if you think about it, I just know all of the volunteer stuff I have done in the last 6 months alone. I know what you've done, and it really, a lot of times it's a thankless job, and that's okay. But this industry is really run on volunteers, and I just want to thank you, because a lot of times it does go unthanked and unnoticed, and this is incredible. I mean, you just see when you're on these different committees all over the country that having an ear and having a voice to leave this industry better than what you came into it as, I think is just really remarkable. So I just want to thank you for that, and any of the other volunteers in this industry, because I know it does take a lot of time away from your family, from your regular job and everything, and it's really to leave this industry a better place. And I want to point that out and say thank you. But
thank you, Meg. And I want to go on that a little bit too. Volunteer is it's very easy to volunteer. If you don't have the time to put in on a board, You can jump on a committee. You can put an hour in, 2 hours in a month. It, just whatever your timetable allows you. But as you get involved, you seem to tend to want to put more time and effort into that because you feel like you are making a difference. And I just encourage everybody, and back to this, go to ppai.org. There is a tab up there where you can volunteer. It will go through there and ask you what your interest is. It may not be professional development or certification. You may be interested in women's leadership or, lead, anything. There's all kinds of positions and always looking for volunteers. So definitely jump on there and do that too. Take a look.
And if not through PPAI, you can also jump into your regional associations and join a committee or do some things there on the regional level as well. It's super helpful and a lot of times a lot easier to get involved. As a volunteer if you're looking for that.
Did you want me to chime in on what it means to me?
Yes.
Okay.
That would be nice. Yeah.
So it's great. I don't know if this is popular or not, but I mean, I don't know the acronyms for law offices and doctors and all the little things behind any of the people that I use names, right? But so just like my clients, they don't know what CAS, MAS, MASI is. You got to do it for yourself. I mean, like if you don't have any desire to personally grow or put effort into personal development, it's probably not the right thing to do because you got to want to grow personally. I don't think you can go into it with the mindset that if I do this, it will have this type of return, or this type of business growth, or because realistically, this is something that a lot of us know internally, but not a lot of our customers know. Like I'll know because a distributor I work with, they have that, and I know that they have that education. But from a distributor standpoint, my customers don't know any of this, right? But knowing that information helps me be better professionally. So I think if you go into it with that approach, it's awesome. It's amazing. I won't do it now because I want to know what your thoughts are, Jeff, but come back to me. I need to tell you guys my experience of when I got it from a few years ago so we can reflect on what that looks like now.
And how it is now, because it's changed a lot.
So what does it mean to you first, Jeff?
Yeah, well, first of all, I felt the same way. Like I've always been a huge advocate for professional development and continued education. And I feel like I've always been very forthcoming with that. However, I've also been very down on the idea of the certification because what really does the designation get you, And I know, I'd mentioned, some other industries and professions where, like my wife, for instance, when she was in the medical field, if she had a particular certification, she could expect to go into a job making X amount more because of that certification. And there's a whole lot of other industries that are like that. Our industry may or may not really be like that, but we don't really have it set up. And I think, Meg, you're a perfect example of that. Like you'd be a hell of a hire somewhere. But you don't have the designation,
Yeah,
yet.
that's why I haven't hired her.
You're going to get that MAS, before Steven. But look, I don't really know that it necessarily carries the weight that it does in other industries, which is kind of sad. I'd like to see it get to that point somehow. But for me personally, like I had the credits, I was close, and back in the day, like I said, I always was like, oh man, this is going to take forever, blah, blah, blah. And when I was a distributor, I would have used it. Like I seriously, when I was going into the office, I'd have been like, look, you're dealing with, 2,700 other distributors. How many of them are, master advertising specialists or whatever it might be? Like, I'm actually somebody that's educated and trained in this industry. And, I would have used it as a distributor. As a supplier, I think I'm putting it out there and, I'm going to flaunt it as much as I can. But ultimately, I don't know that the designation does a ton for me, but I'm a huge advocate of professional development and continued education.
Well, I'm glad you led into that because I was going to throw some statistics out here for you. Okay.
Yeah.
We love nerd news.
Okay. In 2019, there's 2 MAS pluses, 487 CAS, and 125 MAS certifications that was given. Now in 2020, I don't know if a lot of people were aware of this, but PPAI was offering free classes. Go ahead, Jeff.
Jeff was aware.
No,
of
I was
it.
going to say that's why I did it, because it was free. Honestly, if it wasn't free, I might not have done it.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Now I want you to listen to the numbers that had jumped up in 2021 because of the free. We went from 487 TASs to 890.
Good.
On the CAS was 159, jumped up to 442. MASs were 125, and that jumped up to 330. So that tells me two things. Either people were bored and had absolutely nothing to do and they wanted to get on and go ahead and get their education, or they really were given the incentive to take the time to get their education during this COVID time. So that just shows me the numbers speak for themselves. Of course, they've been declining since everything was offered for free. But I do feel that there is a hunger and a need out there, and people want that education. And I think they're willing to spend the time to do that.
I think it's really beneficial that, especially if you're just starting off in this industry. Like when I started off 20 years ago almost, it might have been here, but I wasn't aware of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was so much trial and error and guess and check, and I feel like a lot of that could have been taken care of. I mean, we just had Kirby Hasseman on a couple weeks ago to talk about his new Better Business University, and it's for like the new people coming into this industry. And I feel like that's so beneficial, and not enough people take advantage of it, right? So between PPI, ASI, the regionals, someone like Kirby that are putting this content out there, again, to leave this industry a better place and to make it better. And there's a lot of volunteers that are running this behind the scenes too. So highly recommend if you are new, or even if you want to just further your professional development, to jump in and take these courses. I think that's why I would do it. I mean, nobody asked me what it means to me, but I guess at this point, you know,
you don't even have your TAS. You're kind of like you're kind of like a scrub, a noob.
I know. Hey, you know what?
How does that thing you don't have mean to you? How does that thing that you don't have mean to you?
I think that tells us everything we need to know, Stephen.
I mean, here's the thing. I've been at SNS now for 6.5 years. Nobody at SNS has been like, hey, listen, we really need you to get this. But if they did, I would be like, well, why? You know? But then I would do it just because I want to do it now just for myself. Because I don't have it. I am super competitive, even if I'm most competitive with myself. And now that I know I'm only 15 credits away, and, you know, I just went to Women's Leadership Conference, and that was 11 credits by itself. So coming for you, Stephen McFadden. You can't go to Women's Leadership Conference.
That's great.
Let's go.
No, but he can go to Spark Meg.
Not anymore. Oh.
Just kidding. All right. So anyhow,
that was
going back to that, is
that was a
anybody
sick
can
burn.
reach out to their regional association. I know camp, like I said, I'm on the camp board, so we are developing a mentorship program. And it's not going to be really highly complex. We're just going to say, hey, if you're new, you're looking for a mentor, got a question, here are some mentors in your area. It doesn't have to be nothing elaborate, but just like Meg said, if somebody would have talked to you about that, you would have probably went a different direction, don't you think?
Yep.
Yeah. And like looking back at everything too, it's like, I'm wondering, like, you know, does everything get counted? This is how the competitive
you have to keep up with that. I do that too.
So like I do a lot of like stage webinars, or I do a lot of discussions, a lot of speeches. I wonder what I can go in there and
credit for all that.
So I wanna segue this real quick because I have a little mini story. I'm gonna tell you guys what my experience was, and you can tell them how it's different. So not too distant past, like a few years ago when I did my CAS, there was a fast track program. So did the fast track program, qualified for that, earned some credits. And then like Meg, I was like, I've been in the industry 10 years now. Like I probably can just go on and take this test. So I just signed up for the test, paid for the test, went and just tried to take it. No study guide, nothing. Just went in, failed it. And it's because it got into things like what percentage of this type of, ingredient is allowable by this code on this, because it was like broken up into 20% of different categories. I knew none of the very minute specifics of these chemical percentages that are allowed for certain things. And I was like, well, this is silly. So got this study guide, retook the test, passed it like easily. But it was that test taking was also had to be an online proctored test. Because I either that or had to wait until I was in attendance at an event, and I had to show them my surroundings and my table and my hands and make sure I didn't write things down, or show them all the pieces of paper if I had paper around me. If I needed to stop, like to use the restroom, I had to scan again. There could be no people. I mean, it was intense, and it was like 4.5 hours. So I mean, it was a crazy test. And then I hear about the new stuff. I'm like, what in the world? Like this would have been amazing. So tell people about, like, I don't want to scare them, because that's what it was.
I'm scared out.
So what is it now?
Yeah,
what is it now?
Are you asking Jeff or myself?
Go ahead, Lisa.
Jeff just took his. I took mine years ago. Jeff, you answered that. You just took yours.
All right. Yeah, fair enough. So now basically, like, it's extremely easy. You can log in, and there's like, if for each course that you're into, it'll give you like 4 to 5 steps that you have to do. The first one is basically, view the course material. And the second one is like watch the actual webinar. Then after that, you have to fill out the assessment survey that you would normally have to do if you're in person anyway. So then you do that, and then you take the quiz. And the quiz is usually, I think they're all a five question quiz. So for every course you do, there's like a 4 or 5 question quiz, and you've got to get, I think 80% on them. So you can miss, I think, 1 question. But it's tremendously easier than it used to be. Because I remember hearing those stories. I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to spend $300 to take a test and then to fail it because it's going to take me 5 hours, and I'm not going to I'm just going to have a brain fog for doing it that long. Like, it's way better now, honestly. If you don't have a certification and you've put in the time like Meg has, and you just need certain electives or required courses, like, get it done, because it's so much easier. But I think, Lisa, going back to the stats that you had given us a little while ago, I think that really, to me, it speaks volumes that, maybe the value for people isn't there for the price that people were paying for the actual, to take the certification course and to get that designation. So to me,
and we are taking a look at that. Yeah, we are taking a look at that and reviewing that a little bit and trying to open up some more free classes that we normally charged with. But I want to go back a little bit when you were talking about taking your MAS test. Let's just say that I had to order cassettes from PPAI and wait for them to send them in the mail.
What's a cassette?
I just had to throw that in there.
Serious question. What's a cassette?
What's a cassette?
Serious?
It's a little bit of a joke. It's a little bit of a joke. Right?
But you said serious, so then we then all got upset.
Serious, but a joke.
Yeah.
It's those things they play in Stranger Things.
Yeah, you like turn them. Wow.
So you had to wait for them to come in, and then...
I had to order it, pay for it, wait for it to come in, to listen to my cassette tape. And then, of course, like he said, we had a proctor. We sat down, we took the test, pencil, paper. Yeah. But we had to wait once a year to do that, because we would have to do that in Dallas, or back in the day, it was Dallas, at the PPAI show. So, yeah, I mean, y'all got it made now. Just let me tell you.
What's nice, Lisa, is when you went in person, you could then take your artwork files with you.
You could too, right? Well, you didn't really need that. You need a business card, back then. And a fax machine.
Yeah.
So yeah, the other thing that I always mentioned was when I got my CAS, that was before they were free, I think. And I didn't actually realize how much awesome swag that PPAI would actually send to you as an achievement for getting your CAS. And I think if that was actually marketed, then I think a lot more people would maybe be swayed to jump on, because I mean, I know you can't really see it, but like that right there is my plaque for my CAS. And then I think right beside it is the Crystal Award that we got at PPAI for being recognized as having achieved your certification that year. I don't think I got anything when I got my MAS. And of course I think I did that during the free time. So, of course we're not going to be sending out, swag when there's no cost to cover that. But I think that's something that we really need to weigh is, if we saw such a huge bump when it was free, then it means the value is not there. So we either need to figure out how to reduce the cost by maybe not doing quite as much of that, which like I said, people weren't aware that they were getting that stuff anyways. Or you got to increase the value somehow in getting that designation to meet the cost.
Yeah.
Well, I think for the last couple of years, we'll blame it on everything is supply and demand and, COVID and things like that. People wasn't able to donate items as has in the past. So I think that has a lot to do with it. I think we are looking into revamping a few things when that comes. Things are coming back around now. So I feel like that people will be able to donate some items again. And we're going to try to ramp that up again. And basically, just be the cheerleader, be the cheerleader for the certification and the professional development. I think that's my greatest asset is I'm the cheerleader for them. So.
Hey, do you guys still have the curriculum packages? So like if I need to just get my MAS requirements, I think I used to see them where you could say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and purchase and buy all the 15 required classes for MAS. And is that still an option to go for people that just need to finish their mass like myself to beat Meg? Can I go get that?
Well, he's going to buy his way into it. So am I. So how's it done?
I think we're going to have to do a little side betting on this. Who's going to come in first, huh, Jeff?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So does that still exist? Those packages? Are those there?
Oh yes, they do. Yeah.
Okay.
They still.
And how would I find those if I was so interested in that?
It should just be all right on there on the website.
Yeah, so when you go into the education portal, the tabs on the left-hand side, one of them say the certification. I forget the exact verbiage. I'll try to find it here in just a second. But there's basically a section or a tab on the left-hand side that you can click on to get each of the different designations, and you can sign up for the whole packet. And then they'll be available for you in that folder, so you can just sort of click through them and do them one at a time.
Oh yeah, I see it right there. Mm-hmm.
Meg, I think Steven's starting already.
I know.
And he's got a lot less to get than you. Okay. I mean, it's hard to like place a bet against Meg Erber in a competition, but at the same time, I feel like Steven's got such a head start,
Well, maybe we give her some odds then to enhance the betting.
Well, Lisa, it was such a pleasure to have you on today, and we will have to put a bet on the table between Steven and I. I have to figure out what I'm ready to.
Definitely.
If there's anything, so we'll see. But
well, thank y'all. I was so excited to hang out with the cool kids today. Thanks so much.
Yeah, no worries. It was a lot of fun. And like Meg said, I just want to reiterate like how valuable the amount of time that you've put into the association, both PPAI, camp, and the other regionals that you've been involved in. How valuable that is, and it's a thankless job, like Meg said. So I personally want to thank you as well for the contributions that you've made, because you're making the industry a better place. So thank you very much.
Well, thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, look, this episode was brought to you by our good friends over at TechWeld. They've got a lot of custom packaging, which is still huge right now. TechWeld, they like to create new every day with their custom packaging division. And that's just a great example of how they like to do that. Each box takes on a life of its own, and they can work with you to meet your custom specification needs regarding packaging. And we also mentioned that they won that Distributor Choice Award in the sunglass category. They've got some awesome sunglasses. They won that 2021 Distributor Choice Award in that category, and they've got many SKUs that are FDA and FDA approved and offer both UVA and UVB protection. So go check them out. Remember to think TechWeld for all your promotional product needs. They're the leading supplier in promotional products with a huge inventory of made in the USA items available to help distributors grow their bottom line today. Visit techweld.com. That's TEKWELD.com, and check out their drinkware, sanitizer, kit options, and much, much more. And tell them the Industry Insider sent you. Meg, Lisa said you were a cool kid, but then you put that hat on and that completely went out the window. So
that's her thinking cap she uses during education sessions. So
I'm thinking a whole lot right now, but none of it's good. All right, Lisa, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us an insight as to what's happening behind the scenes and all the hard work that the committee, other than myself, is putting in. All right, guys, take care. Until next time, we'll see you.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Promo Corner's Industry Insider. For more great content from industry thought leaders, including podcasts, blogs, and videos, visit promocorner.com.